Good evening. It's Ted again from Concordia University, Dallas campus. And I'm here to give my persuasive speech tonight. And the topic I chose is illegal immigration and amnesty. And Dr. Feistel, you'll notice I have cards instead of sheets of paper, so hopefully you'll like that. Anyway, so did you know that according to an Associated Press poll, that 90% of Americans believe that illegal immigration is a serious issue, and many want an expedited deportation for the illegal immigrants that are in our country. Also, according to the poll, that 67% of the respondents in this poll felt that illegal immigration was an extremely serious or very serious issue facing our country, according to a poll by the AP in July of 2014. So, for my thesis, I want to explain to you the problem of granting blanket amnesty to the 11 million illegal aliens who are now residing in the United States of America via an executive order by our president. My first point is, problem is that it's unconstitutional. It violates the separations of powers set forth in the Constitution by our founding fathers. You see, our founding fathers wanted a separation of powers for checks and balances between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches of government. In addition to that, illegal aliens cause a great strain on our national economy and a threat to our nation's very national security. You see, granting amnesty to the nation's 11 million undocumented and illegal aliens via an executive order might seem a good idea on the surface, and it seems a good idea to a lot of people in our country, but it's utterly unconstitutional. Our nation's founding fathers created a three-branch system of government. Our founders gave the power to enact laws and pass laws to the Congress, to the legislative branch of government, and in Section 8 of the Constitution, laws regarding naturalization of citizens reside solely in the hands of Congress, not in the executive branch of the government. So the executive branch does not have the authority via an executive order to create law. It is unconstitutional. And by going down that path actually puts the stability of our three-branch system and our checks and balances and the stability of a republic at risk when we allow our leaders to step outside of the bounds and the checks and balances that our founding fathers put in place. And according to some estimates, illegal immigrants are costing our nation, both the federal and local governments, $125 billion a year. And that comes in the costs and strain on our system in key areas like education, healthcare, court costs, prisons, and extraditions. And according to both government and media sources, many of these illegal aliens are thought to be members of dangerous gangs, such as MS-13, drug cartels, and even terrorist groups. Just recently, a man did an experiment. He dressed up as an ISIS fighter carrying an ISIS flag and crossed the border from Mexico into the United States unchecked. And there have been reports of prayer rugs and Korans being found along our country's southern border, and infiltrations from people from the Middle East being brought by these human traffickers. Another troubling aspect of the illegal immigrant influx is an increased epidemic of human trafficking. Oftentimes, these illegal immigrants pay large sums of money to be brought to the United States, only to find once they get here that they're ensnared in a human trafficking organization and never make it to where they hope to be. And oftentimes lose what is their life savings that they've spent to come here illegally at the hands of these human traffickers. And many women have been trafficked, and it's become quite a problem on both sides of the border. So with this understanding that illegal immigration is a very complex and difficult problem, and it can't be fixed by a hasty, unconstitutional executive order, what can we do? Well, ultimately, there's no simple answer to this very complex problem. There's no one simple solution that fixes the illegal immigrant crisis our nation faces. But an integral part of solving this problem is allowing Congress to address the issue and listening to the will of the American people. You know, a key way to address the issue of illegal immigration is to do as many in Congress are asking, and that is to secure the border. Securing the border can help stem the flow of illegal immigrants into the country, but it also helps prevent violent gang members like MS-13 gang members, drug traffickers, cartels, human traffickers, and terrorist groups from entering when we secure our border. It's just common sense. Another way that we can stem the tide of illegal immigration is to no longer grant citizenship to children born of illegal immigrants. And additionally, we cease to provide social services such as healthcare and education to illegal immigrants, or at least limit it to small periods of time so that there's not a huge benefit to come here. Lastly, we should vigorously prosecute and fine companies and businesses that knowingly hire illegal immigrants, especially those who pay inhumane wages. Now, we should also make the legal immigration process more efficient and streamlined, and encourage those who would like to legally enter to turn to the legal method versus the illegal method. Even with these suggestions in hand, many might not find this enough of a solution. And ultimately, there may never be a solution that satisfies everyone's viewpoint on this subject. Now, there are some on the other side of the argument who would say, you know, that blocking, deporting, and denying illegal immigrants long-term benefits is inhumane and un-American. You know, some people say that it's un-American to turn these hopeful illegals away who are coming here for the opportunity of a better life and to escape the poverty of their country of origin. But finally, there's others who see a benefit to having illegal immigrants here, that it boosts our economy, and that many illegals fill jobs that other Americans aren't willing to fill. As valid as these viewpoints might be, it might seem, an unsecured border with millions, 11 million undocumented, unvetted people residing within our borders is a grave national security risk. And it's something that we can't allow to go on any longer. And it puts a big strain on our economy. Indeed, the recent amnesty, according to a Fox News article that just came out, that was granted, will cost the United States $40 billion a year plus. And over the period of the amnesty grant that was issued, a total of $2 trillion added to our nation's debt in a price tag for this amnesty that was granted. Who's going to pay for that? Hopefully I've given you some food for thought on this critical matter, so let's review my earlier points. I've told you the unconstitutionality of the president granting a blanket amnesty by bypassing the legislative branch of government. I've also informed you of the great risk that these millions of undocumented illegals pose. Threats from violent gang members like MS-13, members of drug cartels, human traffickers, terrorists are a very grave risk to our national security. And lastly, I presented some tough but reasonable solutions that can help stem the flow of illegals and ensure our nation's security and economy remain stable. So let's make immigration great.